Hey planner friends! Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be planning from the 24th to the 30th of April in my Hemlock Oak weekly. Let's get started! So the kit that I'm using this week is Spring Brunch from Plannerface. I do PR for Plannerface, so you can use my code in the description to save yourselves a little bit of money and also mention me for a freebie. So this kit is another classic pastel spring kit and I'm really loving these kits at the moment. Although it did kind of chuck it down with rain for most of this week, we are getting a little bit of sunshine going into the weekend, so it's finally starting to feel like real spring. As usual in my Hemlock Oak, I'm starting off the base of my spread with my sidebar, so I have a squared off half box for my focus for the week, a decorative box, a little glitter header to take up space, my habit tracker for my daily check-in with my planner, and then a Monday to Sunday box for all of my dinners for the week, and then a little 3-heart checklist box at the bottom for a couple of tasks that are overarching for the week rather than on specific days. I've then got all of my date covers to add in, and as usual I've trimmed 1mm off the side of each of these so I have a tiny bit of white space between the columns in my planner, and I'm doing the same with the glitter headers, which I'll pop underneath those date covers. This week in my planner it was one of those weeks where I'm really glad that I used removable stickers most of the time because I had to move a lot of stuff around. One thing that was supposed to happen on Monday was slightly delayed and it threw off like the first 3 days of the week worth of plans that I'd already made. Unfortunately, this is the sort of thing that can happen when you tie together your main planner and your memory keeping planner. If my pre-plans don't work out exactly how I wanted them to, then I do have to move stickers around so that my memory keeping is a bit more accurate. Well, I make myself move them around so that my memory keeping is a bit more accurate. But now that I'm here doing my voiceover on Saturday morning, everything has kind of worked itself out and I'm back on track for the weekend. While I've been talking, I've added in all of my glitter headers under the date covers, and then I've added one of the 15mm strips over Saturday and Sunday with the weekend banner, with the flags on the left and right of the word weekend cut off so that they don't overlap off the side of my page. I've then cut the second 15mm strip from the kit in half to create a little divide between my vertical planning section and my reflection section along the bottom, and then I'm going to add in all of my decorative boxes in my vertical planning section. Since I've been using my Hemlock Oak, I've been trimming 1mm off the side of all of my decorative boxes before I lay them down on my planner, but now my craft knife is a little bit less razor sharp, I'm starting to do this on my planner again because I'm less worried about cutting through the page. As I mentioned pretty much every week, I do know where my decorative boxes are going before I start laying down my spread, as I have it all set up on my iCal in front of me while I'm planning. So I'm going to be trimming these both vertically and horizontally so that they take up the amount of space that I want them to within the day and still leave enough space for all of my plans. One thing that I'm definitely enjoying about my Hemlock Oak at the moment is that I do get to use more of these decorative boxes in my planner just because I've slightly changed up my planning style in here and I feel like I don't have to stick to the timelines as rigidly as I did in my passion planner. Considering I've been in my Hemlock Oak consistently for a couple of months now, I think it's pretty safe to say that I'm going to be in this planner for the rest of the year, as usually I can keep a planner going for an entire year, but I'm not promising anything because who knows what I will need from my planner later in the year. Now that I've got all of my decorative boxes down, there's 3 days this week where I don't have a decorative box covering the end of my workday, so I decided to finish off my workday with some swirls using my passion marker. So this is a vintage violet passion marker, which has been my theme colour for all of April, and once I've got all those squiggles down, we can zoom in and start on my plans for the week. So on Monday I'm starting off with the thing that was delayed and kind of threw off the beginning of my week. So I'm using a little thing with this box doodle which is left over from I think a paper sheet plans kit to mark in that I was supposed to have all of my gym kit for my garage delivered this day, and it didn't arrive and it was very stressful. This week for work checklists I'm using the Stick with the Planco girls either at their keyboard or at their laptop depending on whether I'm working from home or in the office. And then I had planned to spend the whole evening setting up my new gym stuff because it would have arrived while I was at work. So I'm marking that in with one of these squished half boxes and a Stick with the Planco girl with like a plank of wood and a tool belt. For my evening to-do list, I'm using another blob of my theme colour with the laundry doodle from the kit because laundry was one of the things I was planning on doing on Monday. And then we can move on to Tuesday where I was working from home. This day we had the electricians coming back to just finish a few things that they didn't quite get done last week. So I'm using a event label and a little house doodle from a monthly kit to mark that in. And then this was my third portfolio day, so I'm using a square box from the kit with another Papershire Vanilla who's crying at a stack of paperwork to mark that in. I'm then adding in my work checklist, and this is one of the Stick with the Planco girls on a laptop because I was working from home, and then I was planning on doing my first weight session of the week on Tuesday afternoon in my new gym garage, but I couldn't because the parcel didn't arrive at this point. I say parcel, it was like a 400 kilo pallet. For Tuesday's to-do list, I've just added in an emoji doing the dishes, and then we can move on to Wednesday, where I had a couple of meetings this day. The first was a quality review that I'm using this fancy label and a bit of deco from the kit to mark in, and then we had a big national seminar thing, so I'm using a quarter box with a laptop doodle from the kit to mark that in. So Wednesday was kind of where I started getting things back to my pre-planning, so you'll see in the final spread the Monday and Tuesday evenings especially do change up quite a bit, but Wednesday is basically what I plan out here. On Wednesday evening I was planning on doing some yoga, so I'm using another Pinky Stickers printable to mark that in, but I ended up doing my first weight session of the week on Wednesday after work, and then I'm just adding in my checklist using a bit of deco from the kit. Moving on to Thursday, I'm using another work from home script from Plannerface to mark in that I was again working from home, and another Pinky Stickers printable to mark in my second weight session of the week, and then another Stick with the Planker Girl to mark in my work checklist. I'm then marking my to-do list for the evening, and finally a little bit of time for some me time using a quarter box and a bathtub doodle from Plannerface, and eventually a me time script from Plannerface, but I think I add that in a little bit later in the spread. I can then move on to Friday, where the first thing that I'm marking in with a fancy label, and I start off with a book doodle from the kit, but it turns into an emoji slamming its head on its laptop later in the week. But that is to mark in handing in the first draft of my portfolio this day. And I actually managed it, which I wasn't sure I was going to when I had my portfolio day on Tuesday. Also on Friday, I was duty scientist for the first time in like 2 months because of my oncology rotation, so I'm using a quarter box with a scientist emoji from Coffee Monsters Co. to mark that in. On this day we also finally had smart meters installed in our house, so I'm using a little thing with a teacup doodle because I couldn't work out how else to mark this. But yeah, now I can see exactly how much energy we're using, which is fun. For Friday evening, I'm just using another emoji to mark in my to-do list, and I was originally planning to do my planning time on Friday evening because I have quite a busy Saturday, but I didn't manage to get it done because the weather was too nice and I just handed in my portfolio. So I'm using a flag with the planner doodle and a planning script from Plannerface to mark that in, and then we can move on to Saturday, where I'm first using a third box from the kit with some deco and an edit script from Plannerface to mark in editing and recording this voiceover. Rather than team training this day, the thing that's taking up most of the day is popping over to another weightlifting club who's having an open today. I'm not competing, but some of the people from my club are, and a lot of them have been put into the same category, so I'm helping out with coaching, which I've never done before, so that's a bit wild, but I'm marking that in with my 2 half boxes stacked over each other and a weightlifting emoji. And then when I come back from that, I'm going to be training on my own in my new garage, so I'm using a squished half box from the kit with a little shaker cup doodle from Plannerface to mark that in. To pretty much finish off all of Saturday, I'm marking in my to-do list with a bit of deco from the kit, and then I'm adding in a half box again with some deco from the kit to mark in whatever we get up to this evening. Which, after this very busy Saturday, I'm hoping will just be something chill like playing Sims and having some drinks at home. I can then move on to Sunday, which should be a pretty chill day, so I'm first marking in my to-do list for the day using the vacuum doodle from the kit, and then I'm using an event label and the grocery doodle from the kit to mark in and going and picking up my click and collect, which I need to remember to order after I've finished this voiceover. Then I'm just going to mark in uploading this video with a skinny event label and a YouTube button icon from Ickle & Co with an upload script from Plannerface. Oh, and then I'm going to swap out that book doodle on Friday for the emoji that I'd originally planned to use because there was a little bit of a crunch with getting my portfolio finished, and it is missing a few things from the draft, but it's kind of stuff that's out of my control, so I'm not too bothered about it. But now I'm going to just add in all of my dots for all of my checklists, and then we can go back in and fill in all of my plans with my Pilot Friction pen. So this week was not entirely the week I expected, but also I'm kind of happy with the outcome now that it's all done. So as I mentioned last week, the garage project that we've been doing for the last couple of weeks was to have a training space in our garage so that I didn't have to pay for a commercial gym anymore. So all of our kit was supposed to be delivered on Monday while I was at work, and then I was going to spend all of Monday evening setting it up and making it look pretty, and then I was going to be able to train in it on Tuesday. But unfortunately it got delayed, so it didn't get delivered on Monday, and then we were expecting it Tuesday afternoon, so I didn't go to the gym and train on Tuesday lunchtime because my gym kit was supposed to arrive and I'd be able to train in the garage, and then it didn't arrive until 7:45 in the evening, so we spent a couple hours trying to put some stuff together, like the squat rack and everything, but it was just not all going to happen on Tuesday evening. So I was getting a little bit stressed about squishing all of my training together because I like to have a day in between each like big weight session to kind of recover. So after work on Wednesday, I was planning on having to come home and finish setting it all up. But actually, while I was driving home, my partner did it all and it was basically ready for me to use when I got home from work. So I could just train in it straight away, and it was such a lovely surprise that he'd done all that. And I could just start using the new space, and I had a really good training session in there. I'm so happy with how it's turned out, and the stress was worth it because it's just such a nice space to train in. So then I had to switch my focus on to finish my portfolio. The deadline that I'd set for myself at the beginning of May was one, as I said, that I've set myself, so I didn't actually have to hit it, but I wanted to get it done because I'm just ready for it to be over now. So I've sent it off to my training lead and my supervisor for them to look over and give me any feedback by like the middle of May, and then I have 2 weeks at the end of May to make all my final edits, and then hopefully it will be submitted. Which is honestly just wild. Like, it feels like I was just plodding along with it for like 3 years and now all of a sudden it's done. Like, there's a few bits missing at the moment, but they're things that I'm just waiting to hear back from other people about, so they're kind of out of my control at the moment. So having my weekly focus for this week being portfolio work really worked out because I managed to hit this arbitrary deadline that I set for myself, and I'm really proud of myself for that. And I'm also hoping that I don't have to make too many edits because I don't want to have this crunch again at the end of May. That's everything for my pre-planning. Let's take a look at the finished spread. So here's the spread all filled out, and as you can see there's a few changes at the beginning of the week, but the end of the week stays pretty consistent with what I pre-planned, which I'm really happy with. I love the springy colours of this kit, and I'm looking forward to using some more pastel pinks as we move into May, because that's going to be my new theme colour for next month. If you're in the UK, I hope you have a lush early May bank holiday. I know that I'm just going to be chilling at home with Reggie. So that's everything for this video, friends. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below. Drop the video a like if you enjoyed it, and if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye!